So I was going to go to a time lapse, but there's so many happening right now at once. So many planes turning on the geoengineering. They said we're not going to have any clouds in Arizona today till possibly this afternoon. Well, they were right, because they're making clouds as we speak. Man, can't believe this thing's having so much trouble focusing. Oh, more geoengineering. Tell me it's not happening. You suck, David Keith. Alright, so I was just shut off and go to a time lapse, but look at this guy. He just started to outpour it. I mean, we were filming him. It was a contrail. It was going, oh, he's gonna watch this. My God. That's the same guy who was going the other way just a minute ago. I don't have my other phone, or I'd look it up in flight radar to see who this guy is. But it shouldn't be too hard. Just valved out. See that? How do contrails start and stop? They don't. We're being played in a major way. Take a look at what he just left. That mark's gonna stay in that sky as that plane's gonna fly away like, oh, I didn't do nothing. What, do you think you got a bad spark plug in your engine? Seriously. You don't have spark plugs, bro. You have fans, turbines. This isn't the way it works. This is geoengineering. I need to go get my other phone. Let's take a look. He's not very high up. And of course my phone's not gonna. The one day I needed to actually see. Shiz. Alright guys. You can look up the Space Preservation Act of 2001. It's in the congress.gov. Real easy to find. But let me just tell you something, what it says in here. It's the Space Preservation Act. The term space means all space extending upward from the altitude greater than 60 kilometers above the surface of the Earth, any celestial body in such space. But the terms weapon and weapon system mean a device capable of any of the following: damaging or destroying any object, whether outer space, in the atmosphere, or on the Earth, by firing one or more projectiles that collide with that object. Okay, it goes down a list, but take a look. I put it up for you. What's it say? Chemtrails. 2001, somebody else knew about chemtrails. So for all you sleepy folk out there that think I'm still crazy, you're right, but I'm right. Alright, I fired up a time lapse, so you can watch the difference in the contrail, how it thins out. It's either clean out or switch of tanks, but he turned it back on as I pulled the time lapse, but you don't really notice that till later. But of course the remnants are everywhere. Take a look. So it doesn't matter where I look today. Anywhere in the Sun Belt. They're doing some really interesting things. They're building a cloud, and they're putting line over line. I mean, literally building a cloud. Look at that. That's not one plane. That's plane over plane. That's 3 planes, if I'm correct. It's pretty tight, you know. Then you come over here, and there's the latest culprit. Right in there, as we can see, he just valved out. So see, contrail would stay persistent. It's not persistent. You can see it's intermittent. And Land of the Stripes is on. Large and in charge, Geoengineering, Mesa, Arizona. Oh yeah.
A very high initial refraction, it's very small, it doesn't coagulate. You could go down this engineering trail a long way. My biggest summary thought, which really is the one that matters to everybody who just, doesn't like doing engineering and wants to think about public policy, is the big lesson number one. It is much easier to think of new ideas like this than it is to untangle the extent to which they would work in the real world or what the risks might be. So here, just a few of us thought up this new idea, and we got a nice paper, and it might actually be really useful in managing the world's climate. But to actually really untangle the extent to which this would work or not in the real world, what the risks and side effect and gotchas might be, is far harder than is to think of the original idea. And there are going to be more and more and more of these ideas coming at you. And so one thing we want to think about when we think about how to manage this problem is to build the capacity to really think through some of these trade-offs. There's a huge scope for new methods. After this, I'll show you very quickly this one little nanoparticle method that I've thought of, but it is even more crazy. The environmental hazards cannot be assessed without knowing which techniques might be used. So why am I wasting my time doing this geoengineering? Because if we just look at the environmental risks of geoengineering, and to be clear, if I was in charge of designing a research program, I would put most of the effort of the research program looking at the environmental risks and side effects. But if we just do that and don't do any engineering, then we'll only look at SO2 forever, because we'll assume that's the answer, because that's what the early papers said. And so the point is, you have to couple them. You have to actually have some people who are thinking about how you'd actually do the engineering and try and minimize the risks, and then a larger group of people trying to think about how it wouldn't work and what the side effects are. That's, to me, sort of essential for having a serious program here. But otherwise, you have this sort of looking under the lamppost problem, which I think is where things have gone so far. So I regard the stuff that I've done on looking at new methods more as sort of illustrating just how big the scope for new methods is. I'm not arguing any of these methods is necessarily better. We don't know. We haven't done remotely the kind of work it would do to really understand the trade-offs.
We have not had prior information and or consent, nor have I given you consent to stratospheric aerosol injection, better known as geoengineering, for solar radiation management and or chemtrails. I do not allow this. I have not seen a material data sheet. I request this information. I do not consent. You're gassing us out. You haven't done the research on the byproducts. Or maybe they just do know.